Just letting you know, this is only my spoiler first impressions of the episode. Check my pinned comment for a free gift related to this video. And to watch my unfiltered reactions with exclusive bonuses, join my Asha Media TV Club. The link is in the description box below. Now, here's my afterthoughts of this episode of Supernatural.
Okay. This is a very interesting one. I'm taking into account some comments that were clarified from previous episodes where I've had issues with certain patterns. Namely, the pattern of, killing off the few amount of women characters. I'm not going to go on a rant on that end because I think I see what they were trying to do. I think perhaps what it is the pacing of it and the immediate payoff of their intentions with the mom and Jimmy. It just felt crammed. I just couldn't connect as much as I wanted to, considering that I love the Jimmy character, and not even a few scenes before, I was like, I would love a Jimmy episode since they did talk about the fact he's in heaven. Well, I just came from watching Bobby, taking on an adventure with heaven. And so right there, when they mentioned, death isn't always death, as I should be used to by now with the season 10, I was thinking, okay, they're probably hinting at the possibility of a future episode where Cass perhaps may touch base with Jimmy and reconcile what's happened with his family and all that with this situation, with the mom being saved and all that. I was really creating a whole nother story in my mind. So that's on me, because the feelings of disappointment and annoyance and somewhat a little bit of anger came from my jumping of the gun and not flowing with the direction this episode was trying to get me on board with. I don't even know if that made any sense. But essentially, I enjoyed this episode more than I thought I would. The minute I did see, oh God, I'm blanking out on her name. Teenage girl here. Okay, whatever. I'm forgetting her name right now in this moment. But the minute I saw her, and considering how I didn't really enjoy her performance in the last episode we saw her in, I was kind of like, oh no, but I actually loved it. I think she did a great job. I'm just going to chalk it up to good direction and perhaps, a really great experience shooting this episode. And I enjoyed the interaction with Sam and Dean, Sam specifically, and then Dean specifically. This is why I deal equal value of what Sam brings to the table in terms of experience and wisdom and what thereof he can impart to her, as we've seen, and what Dean can bring to the table and how he was trying to show her a little bit of the hunting lifestyle. He wasn't shying away from that because that's what he knows, and we've seen him do that with Chrissy, and I like that they transferred it to her in this case. But now with this whole thing where she takes the sword, the wayward word comes in, and I think somebody did comment that there was intentions for a wayward type show with women, so I guess she's one of the characters they would have done that with, and this is the setup part I'm seeing. Just a quick note though on that, I don't think Dean should have let her keep that sword, since the Grigori angels, they thought they were extinct. And so that sword, wouldn't that be something they would, you'd want to bring back to keep in the bunker? That's like an ultimate weapon, but I understand why they had her keep it. I understand. I'm just saying, on that level, I couldn't help but reason that out in my mind. I'm like, that's something you would keep. But anyway, that's the best I can presume based on some of the details shared with me about the spin-off of a show with wayward women they were going to do. And considering they mentioned Jodie, I guess Jodie was going to be a part of that. And Donna, right? And that didn't pan out, seems. But now I'm seeing the setup of it. All right, so aside from that, my only gripe really is I wish they didn't have this save the mom, kill the mom. And it's interesting because as it happened and as I'm having these outbursts, I'm like, it's no wonder. What's the best way to word this? I don't want to offend anyone. And don't mistake me, because I know there are some of you as viewers, your tolerance level is low when it comes to any form of criticism with the show. And it's just like, it's not realistic, okay? Every show, no show is super, super perfect. Anyways, I'm not going to go into that justification anymore, but for me to jokingly call it out as, watch, she just might die, it's like, I'm joking and I'm not, because I'm like, it literally fell into that. And I could totally see how someone watching me start my reaction that way would be like, oh, did she see this episode already? How did she call that? And it's like, no, I don't need to. Well, first of all, the fact that you would ask that's insulting as it is, but the patterns are there for me to even be able to see, like, okay, yeah, saving her, then killing her. Now, mind you, at least the kill was fitting. They gave it where she did it defending her daughter, right? That's a trope, actually. So, sure. And I did get to see Jimmy for 2 seconds, and it was a very heartfelt reunion. It's just like I said, it was too crammed in. It was too crammed in. I think if you're going to go have multiple episodes where Jimmy's brought into conversation of a heartfelt situation with this child who's had this experience and Cass wearing his vessel, the least you could have done, instead of making some dumb filler episode, which they do on occasion, right, is tie in with an episode that revolves around Jimmy in heaven and some kind of reconciliation there. And maybe even in that subsequent episode, okay? What I'm saying is a little extra should have been given where then the mom and the daughter have more to kind of work with, and then bring in some story with Cass and Jimmy from heaven and what thereof. And if the mom dies in that sense, sure, but at least it will be earned on an emotional level for me as a viewer. 2 cents, people, my 2 cents, okay? For what it's worth. All things considered, though, there are more pros than there are cons. New type of angel introduced. And although he dies, though, that lore, at least, it's there to remember for maybe future episodes they might touch on with the Gregory angel. And I guess you can't assume that he's the only one. There's probably other ones, right? I think he said a remnant of them survived. What else was really good? I love the dynamic with Sam and Dean, respectively, with Cass trying to get feedback. I really enjoy that, where Cass is having his experience with Sam, and then he has his experience with Dean, and you're getting 2 POVs. Very different, but still helpful for me to watch Cass take both of their advice into his own consideration to make his own final decision and learn more. I like that. I hope to see more of that going forward. There's a different feel whenever he's with Sam versus when he's with Dean. I'm good. Hope it stays that way. Well, before I get to Ashamoji, let me scroll around to mention some scenes that are notable. Yeah, the golfing scene. Totally love that. That was a lot of fun. It's very rare you can put in a scene like that fits the story, because he's stuck with her babysitting, but at least they're having some humor there and some banter back and forth on the differences of generations, and how I didn't get the Caddyshack reference, but I got the Happy Gilmore one. What's another scene that I enjoyed? I enjoyed the scene where Sam was teaching her about the ropes of hunting and creating fake credit cards and all that stuff for credit card accounts, and how impressed he was with her own skills without being properly trained in tracking down people. And that's a way to showcase that she kind of has a knack for it already, naturally. What else was a good scene? Aside from the Jimmy part, which I was happy to see, I just didn't really like it being executed so quickly. Oh, yeah, of course, the scene where she reunites with her mom, she sees her, and I love, this is the Catherine Newton I'm used to in terms of being a good actress from Big Little Lies, where if you look at that scene, she sees her, and it's that beat she takes where she doesn't want to kind of give in to the fact that she's so happy, because she's also so mad at her mom, and she wanted to tell off her mom, but she gives in because that's her mommy. It's her mommy. And I do love that moment, and she breaks down and cries, and that was great. That was a really good moment. I'd have to say it's my favorite. Then that is officially my favorite scene, just because of not only the performance, but where they're showing this character be vulnerable where it matters. She found her mom. And maybe that's why I was so just like, like, really, you had to kill her off right at the end of the friggin' episode, and she went through all this to find her? Anyway. Well, rest in peace, Jimmy and his wife. I can only presume that is the last of the Jimmy Novak tale. Although I hope not. I mean, Misha is here on the show. I don't see why they can't have Jimmy come back in some form. I'm thinking Bobby, right? If they needed Bobby's help, maybe they might need Jimmy's help for something. But I think this was supposed to be a wrap-up with the Novak family. So be it. So be it. Okay, that's all I got for now. Ashamoji-wise, I'm going to give this, I'm going to give this 3.5. It's a very good episode. I mean, pacing-wise, I know it's not up to par with some viewers who want a little bit more action, but when you're just focused on this Novak storyline and what they were trying to achieve with reconnecting with this character, and then it seems like, as I said at the end, branching her off to another journey that was intended at that point in production, I think it deserves credit on many fronts. As I said, there are more pros than there are cons with this episode. So, very good. I feel good with that as an Ashamoji rating. So there you have it. Those are my afterthoughts about episode 20 from the 10th season of Supernatural. If you want access to my unfiltered, uncut reaction to this episode, including bonus reactions to other stuff that I share only with members, and early access, because what you're seeing right now is way behind from where I'm actually with my club members. Details on joining my club is in the description box below for you. Therefore, until I see you again for episode 21, I'm tuning out and peacing out. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and check out my other videos.